Good morning, folks. We'll give it a minute and see if anybody else signs on. If not, you all will get the benefit today. Hello? All right, here comes some more folks, so we'll give it a minute here. And I will start filling y'all in more as my email said in the announcement. I misread an email. I missed an email. I'll be perfectly frank. I missed an email that changed my return date. On the 29th, I was given a return date of the 1st. I stayed up to the 4th to be extra sure for y'all. And then on the 30th, they had sent an email saying it changed to the 11th. I missed it. My full taking credit for that, but like no one ever confirmed with me. And you can see how, you know, 1st to 11th, I might not have processed that. Anyway, so I'm remote till after break, which sucks. But it means some things that actually might be helpful to y'all. So your whole exam is now take home. And so you can print it out, write on it, scan it in, take pictures of it, especially for the math parts. It's open book, open note. So, you know, whatever you need to do to make that work is fine. And then during the time you would be taking the exam in class on Friday, so this time on Friday, I will be on Zoom to answer any questions you have as you work through it. So it's due on Friday at midnight. I wanted to give you plenty of time to work on it. And if you've already started the take-home ones, they're the same take-home questions. You can just copy paste of it. So questions about that formatting change. I didn't want to make you try to do math on Blackboard exam. It just was not fair. And I'd rather see you work with the numbers than struggle with Blackboard. Hopefully that is okay with you guys. I don't think anyone's like super sad. You don't have to memorize stuff. So again, I will be available on Friday in class. So let me check how many folks we have here. And honestly, probably just do 2 groups. Yeah, we can do 2 groups of 4. So today, we're kind of wrapping back around to our educational assessments, and I'm going to have you all do some stuff from an educational assessment. So let me make sure I actually have the sharing right on these things. I do not, so give me a second. Alrighty, so the first link is going to be the link to the actual test. There's some sample GRE questions. When you click this link, it should open a blank copy for you that you can then type on. And then the second link is going to be a group assignment. Again, I'll make it so that a copy opens so that your group can fill it out together. Hang on just a sec. I need to Again, change my permissions on this. The first link is the questions, the sample GRE questions themselves. Second link is a group assignment where you'll talk through things about that. So here's what I'm going to propose. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms for 20 minutes. I would say take the first 10 minutes to work through the GRE problems, get as far as you get. You know, if you don't get through them all, that's fine. You can help each other on them. Feel free, chat amongst yourselves. Do keep an individual copy of these though, because this is something that once you get your partners for the assessment report assignment, your partner will need in order to write up your report. So go ahead and spend, like I said, 10-ish minutes or so trying the questions, and feel free to talk about them with each other. I'm okay with that. And then spend the next 10 minutes talking through the assignment, that second link. So work through the sample GRE questions, and then those you don't have to turn in to me. Just hang on to a copy for yourself. And then work through the Google Doc of the group questions about taking the GRE questions for the second 10 minutes. And I will pay attention and try to send you I can send a notification that everyone in the groups can see. So I will do that. And actually looking at this now, I think I can do 3 groups of 3. So I'll do that just because I think sometimes smaller groups are more efficient. And hopefully this will help you to, just understand what educational assessments look like a little more and think through some of these bigger questions about them that might help you with the essay part of the exam. So I need to stop talking so I can do the breakout rooms because I can't click and talk at the same time. All right, so you're gonna have 20 minutes and you'll be in 3 groups of 3. So again, first 10 minutes, go through those practice GRE problems, help each other if you want. Second 10 minutes, do the second link, do the group activity. All righty, opening the rooms.
Sorry, I just came back to click on the links because I don't see it in the thing. So I just came back to get those.
Cool. Can you see them once you're back in here?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, good. You just reminded me.
Actually, no, I actually do not see them.
Okay, here, I will recopy them. So this one is the practice GRE questions. And then this next one is the group assignment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Troy. We are in breakout rooms, so I'm going to go ahead and assign you to one. There's 2 links in the chat, so make sure you grab those before you move over to your group.
Okay. Did you assign me to a group?
Welcome back. Welcome back. All righty. So we are just going to talk through the assignment together. I'm going to go ahead and screen share it so we are all on the same page. Hang on just a sec. I have it on the wrong screen, so I'd be looking to the side. I'll reshare it. Okay. And anyone can answer any of these. I'd love to hear from different people about these. Actually, why don't I do this? For number one in particular, let's go through and have each group talk about it. So group one, what did your group think of the difficulty of the sample GRE questions? And this was Anissa, Haley, Jalen, and Terrence.
Oh, well, I'm figuring we thought it was pretty difficult. It wasn't too bad. I do think the questions were worded a bit differently, but beyond that, I mean, the information that was put in there was pretty apparent.
Yeah. All right, group two, what did you all think? So this is Ashanti, Alyssa, Sydney, and Troy.
I thought it was pretty easy.
Good. Hey, you're
Yeah.
ready to go.
It seemed pretty straightforward. A lot of it seemed to just be like language proficiency or just
I mean,
word association.
I didn't finish. So maybe that means it was harder than I thought.
No. Yeah, I never expected any of you to be able to finish the whole thing in the time I gave you. So all good. Haley is saying her mic isn't working, but some of the questions she thought would make her second guess herself with wording.
That's true.
Yeah. Someone else said that too. Yeah. The way they write them, right, can be very challenging. And this is something I think to think about as you all start thinking about working on your questionnaires, right? It's like, how can you be clear in your wording? Yeah, group three, what did you think? So this was Debbie, Aaron, Stephen, and Terrion. Debbie said that she had to read it over a few times. We got a fax, which I love.
Yeah, it was definitely like, I mean, I just felt that like the answer choices were kind of, the way they were worded, it just made you like second guess yourself. Like, is that really the answer? Or like, what are they really saying? So like, that was a little bit confusing, but other than that, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and this is one of my major criticism of tests like the GRE, right? Because of all those tricky things. It's like, are they really measuring what you know, or are they just measuring how well you take a test, right? So like people who do really well in the GRE and the ACT, SAT, all these similar type of tests, not all, but a vast majority of them end up paying for test prep courses, which are pretty pricey. And basically teach you how to work the test, essentially. But not everyone has access to that. Aaron is saying, I think the GRE's verbal portion was harder than the SAT reading test. Yes, and I actually thought, well, I can just tell you, it shocked the heck out of me because I never had this on any standardized test ever. But when I took the GRE, my quantitative or math score was higher than my verbal score, which I did not expect. I mean, like, I'm obviously proficient at math, but I had never seen that before. So yeah, I totally agree that the verbal portion is harder, obviously. Cool. So, you know, having looked at these, what do you all think the verbal questions are actually measuring? And anyone can answer.
Clarity.
Was that Troy?
Clarity. Are the questions understandable?
Mm-hmm.
I think it measures
Also,
like your ability. Oh, my bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking that I feel like it measures your ability to comprehend like the text, basically apply it to answer the questions. So more like yeah, basically reading comprehension and how well you are at doing that.
Yeah, read and recall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Debbie is saying something similar, and so is Haley in the chat. Reading comprehension, vocab knowledge, test taking skills, and then basically being able to comprehend, then recall info. Yeah, definitely. There is, and I don't know if I had any of these samples, but there are like analogies to like you have on the SAT. But I don't know if any of those are in the sample questions. It's been a minute since I tried to do them myself. How about the quantitative questions? What did it seem like they were actually measuring? Logic and math skills, yep. Being able to compare two different quantities, yep. Yeah, and obviously, depending on the grad school, right, they're going to pay more attention to these two sections. Like if you're going for a PhD in English, right, they're really going to care about your verbal score. If you're going for one of the sciences, they'll probably look at something like your quantitative questions more. All right, so why do you think the GRE even exists? Why do grad schools require a test like the GRE?
To verify whether their applicants
I guess it's-
are qualified.
Yeah. And then someone else had something?
Sorry.
Oh, no, all good. It's good.
No, you're fine. I was gonna
Love how much you all are participating.
say basically, I was gonna basically just say like to see how much you remember or how much you can like put together, at least since it's like is grad school, to see like how much do you remember. Like I know like the times when we do certain grades, kind of forget like what we learned or what was going on. Kind of, I guess, like to test your memory and see how quick are the like certain topics you are quick with, certain topics you're still struggling with.
Memory retention.
Memory retention is a big part of
I
it.
think it also just is a measure of basically your overall like ability to answer, well not answer, but basically your overall ability to understand and apply information. Like, because like when you're in school, that's basically what you're doing, and it's basically your ability to see how well you can do that. So it's like a measure of that, basically.
Yeah, I think you're all spot on. Sorry. On top of everything else, my daughter has an ear infection, and I just got a text from my husband who's at the doctor with her. At least it's just that this time around. So yeah, I think everything you all are saying is spot on. The other reason they require the GRE is that in theory, and again, we know from thinking about the SAT at the beginning of the semester, this is not necessarily true, but in theory, it's supposed to be a measure you can compare everyone in like a fair way across, the caliber of university they've gone to, the types of, courses that were offered there. Again, there is some bias built into this, and people of color, people from a lower socioeconomic status don't do as well because of that. So I don't think it serves that function, but that is the function it's supposed to serve. Now, the other thing that's sort of interesting is last year, a lot of people couldn't go take the GRE, right? Because of the pandemic. And so a lot of grad schools didn't require it. And I know in clinical psych, this meant they got not like fourfold increases, but in some cases 400-fold increases in applicants. So it'll be really interesting to see sort of like what schools decide to do in the future and how this might affect diversity, hopefully in a positive way. All right, so what did you all think about how you should evaluate people for grad school? Would GRE scores actually be helpful? Why or why not? So imagine you're evaluating someone to go to grad school for psychology. Do you think that the information the GRE gives you would be helpful?
I guess it really just kind of depends on the information. So whether or not the information put in there, particularly with something like this, holds any sort of utility to the types of occupations that you would want to be a part of. So if we're measuring examples such as this one up against those, then probably.
Yeah, other thoughts?
I feel like it all depends because I I don't think it's really a good way because everybody has different learning styles and everybody can like remember information differently. Like I know for me, some of the questions, the words, I didn't know every single definition of the word. So that was kind of like hard for me. So I was just like, okay, ooh, like what this word mean? I never seen this before, but somebody else might know exactly what that means. But like for me, I didn't understand it. So I feel like that's not a good way to like measure it because everybody went to different schools, everybody learned differently, and everybody has a different learning style and like a way to take in information.
Yeah, I think you're right on, Ashanti. Yeah. And Debbie's saying something similar. I don't necessarily think it's fair to judge everyone against the same standards. Different fields require different strengths and skills. Yeah. And then Haley said, yes, Debbie. And she said, I think they could be helpful, but you would have to look at bias in the exam. There actually is a specific GRE for psych. At least when I took it back in 2003, I think. It was paper and pencil. So more of a traditional test. And yeah, it was questions about general psych knowledge. So certainly some of my schools required that, and that might give them more psych specific knowledge, right? They also obviously take things into account like your letters of recommendation. You know, let's say you're going to a research focused program, what research experience you have gotten in undergrad, things along those lines. And if you've, you know, gotten the chance to present at conferences, if you've done an internship, all those things can play in depending on the program. And then they usually sort of like do a cutoff based on applications and then do an interview as well, especially for clinical programs. Like they want to make sure you are a functioning person and can like hold a conversation, right? And so that's a really nice way to like get to know people and see if they're a good fit.
So that pretty much means that you can kind of stack a bunch of other things in your favor in case you come with a dud on the GRE, right? Like
that's what I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but that could be a problem if you're trying to get into a school for like physics or something like that. The mathematics part of it, depending on what you're majoring in, is probably important. If you're trying to be an accountant and you need to do statistics, you want to be good with the Excel program, you know. You don't want to set yourself up for failure is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we'll look at, like your grades in specific classes too, like your accounting classes.
So it just depends.
Everything I didn't have you all do because it would take too long, but is that there is a writing portion of this. And I think grad schools probably look at that as well, because a lot of what you do in grad school is writing papers, writing publications, things along those lines. So yeah, so here is what I have been told typically happens for folks is that there will be a cutoff essentially when they get a lot of applications, and like your GRE is just like it gets you into the top pool or not. As I was telling Terrence, I bombed my GRE. I mean, not really, but I bombed for me. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a great score. I blame it partially on honestly not enough preparation, but also on the fact that I had a cold that day, stopped at the drugstore on the way, got some cold medication, came home, looked at it, and it was expired. And I actually like my heart was racing and like I had a really bad reaction to it. But yeah, and I mean, like some of it is connections, right? So my grad advisor already had a student from my undergrad institution who had worked with my advisors. So she said, like in my letter from Michael Levine, one of my professors and one of the leading experts in eating disorders, he had like compared me to Michael in a favorable way. So, you know, there really is still sort of this like old boys / girls club that comes into play too, that like if you know someone, you make that connection, it can make the difference. And I have used it to my advantage. I have a student who got into a PhD prep master's program because I knew her advisor from grad school. Important. Like just because someone doesn't get into grad school does not mean they should not be there, if that makes sense. have that opportunity.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. And especially for psych people, if you're thinking clinical, what I tell people is go for a master's first. Because if you decide you just want to practice, all you need is a master's to get licensed. If you decide after your master's, I really like the research part, I want to do my PhD, then you can apply and you're actually more likely to get into a PhD program at that point. So, and the fact that you've taken this class will look really good because this class is assessment's a big part of what you do as a clinician. And then also you're doing some research stuff here as well. Alrighty, well, I was gonna give you some time in your groups, but I don't know that 6 minutes is gonna be that helpful. So here's what I will do. I will email each of the groups all together so that you all can have each other's contact info and can start communicating. And then there's a few people who are not like officially in a group yet. So I'll email you all probably together and be like, do you want to form your own group? Do you want to join another group? Just because if I throw you in a breakout room for 5 minutes, it's just going to cause chaos more than anything, right? All right. So again, reminders, your exam is now totally take home, open book, open note. I'm obviously always available via email, or you can set up an individual appointment with me if you have questions. But I plan to be on this Zoom at this time on Friday to answer questions about it. The exam is due at midnight on 11:59 on Friday. And so you've got until then to complete the whole thing. You don't need to like sit down and give yourself just an hour to do it like you would in class. So again, I just could not see making you all do the math portion in the little boxes on the Blackboard exam. It didn't seem fair. So I'd much rather see what you know than how much you can fight with a computer. It's very similar to the GRE in some ways. So yeah, I will stick around for a minute in case anyone has questions. If not, take care of yourselves. And if you have questions, I'll see you on Friday. If you feel like you're good to go with the exam, you don't have to log in on Friday. Yes, Jalen, I'll repeat what I said.
I do have a question. Do we have to?
Go ahead, Ashanti.
Do we have to finish those two, the GRE things, and turn them into you, or was that just like an in-class thing?
Oh, no. Yeah, so basically what the GRE things are going to go into is that assessment report you do at the end of the semester. So that's sort of the first thing we're doing. So after break, you'll get a partner to do that with, and you'll write reports about each other. So you'll just save your GRE questions to give to your partner, basically.
So I'm sorry,
Okay.
save the questions we just did now for our project?
Yeah, for your project, for your assessment report project.
Okay,
One of the things that goes.
So the only thing to worry about is the test on Friday, not these things, to get those completed.
Exactly. No, you've got honestly till the end of the semester.
There you go. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you don't get through them all, that's okay. Your partner could still write them. So
Okay, thank you.
no problem. Good question. And then Jalen, to answer your question, so the exam is now completely take home. So if you go to where the take home exams typically are on Blackboard, there's now the entire exam, including the part that you would normally do in class. You can just download, you can print it out and write on it. That was sort of my ideal that you all would do, and then scan it or take pictures of it and upload it. And so you have between now and Friday at midnight to finish that and taking as much time as you need on it.
And we just go under Blackboard, right? Or they're not Blackboard.
Yeah, here, I can actually show you all who are still on here real quick. I think I have a Blackboard tab open here. Yep, so if you go to take home exams and you go to exam 2, I've actually posted it in a couple different ways. This is just the thing. This is the same document, but this is where you'll actually turn it in. So yeah, and then when you click it, or it's not going to show, but basically it's like the part you would do in class and then also the part that was the take home. So if you've already done the take home part, you can just copy paste it over.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, I wanted to be fair to you all, and it just wouldn't be fair to try to make you do this online. So
Have a good day.
you too.
Thank you.